Hello and welcome back to my channel and to part 8 of restoring this discovery. So last episode we tackled a fair few areas on this side of the discovery. I will be beginning this episode by showing what I do to ensure those fresh pieces of metal and the welds do not begin rusting. Starting off with preparing the passenger side footwell. I'm sure you guys will know by now that the needle gun is my favourite tool to use, especially on this project, and unfortunately I've managed to find a few more holes, but we'll think about that later on. So I used a flap disc on the angle grinder to smooth down the welds and prepare areas that will be getting the coat of primer. And I didn't go over the sill / the floor area, as these will not rust due to the protective coating already on them. I will have to use a separate primer for that, but I'll talk you through that in a future episode. So once I prepared the areas, I used a panel wipe to remove dust, contaminants, little bits like that, just before painting. This is the Corroless S primer. If you are new here, I really do like the Corroless range. I will pop the name of the paint down in the description if you are interested. And if you are not new here, you know that I bathe in this stuff. So no surprises here, that's what I'm using. And I am hand painting this on. It doesn't have to be perfect, as this is literally just to protect these areas. Featuring my snazzy Land Rover overalls as well. I was super excited to get these off of a close friend of mine quite a few years ago now. And what better occasion to use them. Really trying to push the primer into any crevices and ensure complete coverage because I do not want these areas rusting. So that is the wing bottom, the floor and the footwell done. Now onto the sill and the rear quarter. So because of where the welds are here, I just cleaned up this entire area with a flap disc on the angle grinder and smoothed some of those welds down. I then went over the larger surfaces on the rear quarter and then used sandpaper for the little nooks and little pieces that I couldn't quite get into with the grinder. And then once I was happy, I panel wiped this section ready for the primer. Now just painting that Corroless S primer all over that rear quarter because I'm pretty much finished with this outer bit of the shell now. So I have left this section as I need to repair the wheel arch that connects to the back of the sill. Now I'm on to repairing the driver's side roof and that seatbelt support beam and the corner of the steel structure in that area. So I'll leave a little pop out of a more in-depth version on the passenger side of what I actually did. I'll just be running through this quite quickly because I've already shown this little bit before. Carefully cutting the roof, not removing any more than necessary. And drilling out the spot welds using a smaller drill bit and then a larger drill bit, like what is being used in this clip. And that is the gutter removed, and you might be able to see a little bit more clearly now the little pinprick holes that were in the roof. This is just a telltale sign that there is going to be an absolute nightmare underneath. And as you can see, complete nightmare because there is not much left of the seat belt mounting point, that support beam there. So when I first got this Discovery, that piece of trim that goes around the Alpine window, every time you knocked it, more rust fell down and through that, so I just knew there were going to be something horrific behind there. It's just like a Land Rover horror film, really. So after removing what was left there, I am now cleaning up the metal, ready for the new section to go in. And here Jamie is tackling that donor piece, removing the excess metal and removing the seatbelt mounting point support beam as well. And then over I go to make the necessary markings to where it needs to be cut. So the yellow paint pen marks are where it needs to be cut. Now I'm cutting the donor piece, and I look far too happy for somebody that has an angle grinder in their hand. So that beam is now cut and I need to prepare it for installation. And I absolutely hate this job. It's like a flashback to doing the 110 in the middle of winter and scraping all the wax oil off of the chassis. So anyway, I'm removing the old sealant. I'm using a wooden handled scraper to remove the big globs of it. And I also soaked some rags in white spirit and just draped them over just to soften that sealant. And that really helped to remove that sealant. Then using an angle grinder and the flap disc to clean up the edges, and then again along the gutter. So the new corner piece is now in and ready to be properly welded in. Like in many other episodes, I always tack things in place before committing to permanent welds, because if anything needs altering, it's far easier just to cut the little tacks than it is to remove full-blown beads. And you may notice some red oxide primer has been sprayed into the box sections there of that support beam. There is a future plan for in the actual box sections themselves, but I'm currently not focusing on that too much. I'm just spraying with red oxide primer for the moment. But this is just a temporary solution. I am working on a permanent fix once the entire inner shell is complete. And on to the next day, and that piece is in place and ready for the next stage. And that is where I'm going to leave it today. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see you again next time.